Ladies and gentlemen, the wealth you desire is not sitting in someone else's pocket, it's not hidden in a bank vault, and it's not locked away in some secret investment strategy. The true source of wealth begins right here inside your mind. If you want to attract unlimited wealth, the first thing you must do is learn how to train your thinking. You cannot create prosperity with a poverty mindset. You cannot walk into abundance with a spirit of lack. What you think about, you bring about. What you focus on expands. And if all you focus on is limitation, you will continue to attract limitation. But when you begin to train your mind to see opportunity, to believe in possibility, and to expect increase, life begins to open doors you never even knew existed. Wealth does not start with money. It starts with belief. Money is only a reflection of the way you think. Think about it, two people can walk into the same room, see the same problem, and one sees an obstacle while the other sees $1 million opportunity. What makes the difference? The mind. Wealthy people are not just wealthy because of what they have. They're wealthy because of how they think. If you believe you don't deserve more, your actions will confirm it. If you believe money is evil, you'll run from it. But if you believe wealth is a tool to bless your life and impact others, you'll start creating, you'll start producing, you'll start attracting. Gratitude and visualization are two of the most powerful tools you can use to rewire your brain for wealth. When you wake up every morning and start giving thanks for what you already have, you open yourself to receive more. Gratitude shifts your vibration, your energy, and your awareness. And when you combine gratitude with visualization, when you begin to see yourself living in that house, driving that car, building that business, giving generously, impacting lives, you are telling your subconscious mind, this is where we're going. And guess what? Your subconscious mind will begin working overtime to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But wealth doesn't respond to wishful thinking alone. It requires discipline. Discipline in your thoughts, discipline in your actions, discipline in your habits. If you want to build unlimited wealth, you must stop entertaining thoughts of lack. You must stop saying, I can't afford it. Instead, ask, how can I afford it? You must stop feeding your fears and start feeding your faith. You must stop indulging in things that waste money and start investing in things that multiply money. Your future will not be built on what you occasionally think. It will be built on what you consistently think. And let me tell you something. Your environment matters. If you're the smartest person in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. If you're surrounded by people who complain about money, who always talk about struggle, who believe wealth is impossible, you will eventually absorb that thinking. But if you surround yourself with people who think bigger, who talk ideas instead of gossip, who encourage you to stretch your vision and challenge your limits, then their mindset will elevate yours. Birds of a feather flock together. And if you want to fly with eagles, stop scratching around with chickens. Finally, none of this matters if you don't take action. Abundance doesn't just come because you believe. It comes because you align belief with action. You can visualize, you can affirm, you can meditate, but if you don't move your feet, wealth will not find you. Every day, take one step toward your dream. Learn something new about money. Start a side hustle. Save consistently. Invest wisely. Put your energy into producing, creating, and serving. Wealth comes to those who act on their abundant thinking, not those who just dream about it. So, train your mind, protect your thoughts, practice gratitude, build discipline, surround yourself with the right people, and take consistent action. Do this, and you won't just attract wealth. You will attract a life of freedom, impact, and abundance beyond your imagination. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. Yet most people treat it like it's a spare part instead of the engine that drives everything in their lives. If you want to attract wealth, if you want to create opportunities, if you want to rise above the limitations of your environment, you must learn to train your mind to think abundance. The problem is not the lack of money. The problem is often the lack of vision. When you see only struggle, you magnify struggle. When you focus only on debt, you multiply debt. But when you condition your mind to see abundance, you begin to attract it like a magnet. The greatest shift you can make is from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking, because wealth flows to those who believe it belongs to them. Most people live every day telling themselves what they don't have. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right connections. And so every time they repeat those thoughts, they are training their mind to focus on lack. But your mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant is what will grow. If you plant seeds of scarcity, you will harvest scarcity. If you plant seeds of abundance, you will harvest prosperity. That's why you must guard your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Train yourself to replace every limiting belief with a liberating one. Instead of saying, I can't, begin saying, how can I? Instead of saying, I'll never have enough, start saying, I am on my way to more than enough. Those small shifts in language begin to rewire your brain, and your brain begins to look for solutions instead of problems. You see, wealthy people are not special. They simply think differently. They see opportunity where others see obstacles. They see lessons where others see losses. They see growth where others see endings. The mind that is trained to look for possibility will always attract prosperity, because opportunity is attracted to awareness. If you're blind to it, you'll miss it, even if it's right in front of you. But if your mind is tuned to abundance, you'll spot an opening in the middle of chaos. You'll create ideas in the middle of crisis, and you'll find ways to multiply what you already have. The reason most people never break free from lack is because they wait for conditions to change before they change their thinking. But it doesn't work that way. You must change your thinking first, and then your conditions will follow. You don't wait for wealth to start thinking wealthy. You start thinking wealthy to attract wealth. Every thought you entertain is like a deposit in the bank of your future. If your thoughts are poor, your results will be poor. If your thoughts are rich, your results will eventually align with that richness. Train your mind daily, through affirmations, through reading, through surrounding yourself with people who stretch your vision, because repetition creates belief, and belief creates reality. Wealth begins with belief, not money. You could hand a millionaire's bank account to someone with a poverty mindset, and within a few years, they'd be broke again. Why? Because they never trained their mind to sustain wealth. Wealth is not just what you have in your hands, it's what you carry in your head. That's why some people can lose everything and rebuild it again and again, because their wealth was never only in their wallet, it was in their mindset. If you don't believe you are worthy of more, you'll keep sabotaging yourself. If you don't believe you deserve abundance, you'll push it away the moment it shows up. If you believe money is evil, you'll subconsciously repel it, because you don't want to associate yourself with what you think is corrupt. But when you start believing that wealth is a tool, a gift, a resource to create freedom for your family, to bless your community, to make a difference in this world, you'll begin to attract it, because your mind no longer sees it as a threat. It sees it as a necessity. Belief is the foundation of wealth. But belief alone isn't passive, it is active. It drives your decisions, shapes your habits, and pulls you into environments that align with prosperity. When you believe you are meant for more, you start to move differently. You talk differently. You walk differently. You invest differently. You don't chase wealth out of desperation. You attract it out of confidence. Your belief becomes the magnet that pulls opportunities, resources, and connections into your life. So, stop waiting for proof before you believe. Start believing before you see proof. Begin training your mind to think abundance, and begin believing that wealth belongs to you. That prosperity is possible. That increase is your right. Because until you believe it within, you will never see it without. Wealth begins in the mind. And when you master your thoughts, you'll master your future. Gratitude and visualization are two of the most overlooked but powerful forces for wealth creation. Too many people wake up in the morning complaining about what they don't have, instead of celebrating what they do have. And what you complain about, you amplify. What you celebrate, you multiply. Gratitude shifts your focus. It raises your energy. It tells your subconscious mind, look here. This is important. And when you consistently express gratitude for what's already in your life, you open the door for more to flow in. You see, gratitude is not just about manners, it's about alignment. The universe, life, God, whatever you call it, responds to appreciation. When you give thanks for the little, you get trusted with the greater. When you start seeing blessings in the small, you attract blessings in the big. The problem is that many people can't move into abundance because they are too busy rehearsing their misfortune. They replay their failures, they magnify their losses, and they tell their story of struggle again and again. But let me ask you, what if you flip that story? What if instead of saying, I lost everything, you said, I survived everything? What if instead of saying, I don't have enough, you started saying, I'm grateful for what I do have and more is coming? Gratitude is a magnet. It attracts people, opportunities, and resources to you because nobody wants to help or invest in someone who's always negative, but everyone wants to pour into someone who radiates appreciation and expectation. Now, when you combine gratitude with visualization, you ignite a force that is unstoppable. Visualization is not wishful thinking, it's mental rehearsal. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself in the future you desire, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. It begins to wire itself for the reality you're picturing. You're programming your subconscious to accept that future as fact. And once your subconscious accepts it, your actions, decisions, and energy will line up with making it real. Think about an athlete preparing for the Olympics. They don't just train their body, they train their mind. They visualize themselves crossing that finish line, standing on that podium, holding that medal. They run that race in their minds 1,000 times before they ever set foot on the track. And when race day comes, their body follows the blueprint their mind has already rehearsed. That's the power of visualization. And when it comes to wealth, you must do the same. See yourself debt-free. See yourself investing. See yourself in the home you dream of, running the business you envision, giving generously, and living with freedom. Your imagination is not fantasy. It is a preview of what's possible when you align thought with action. But here's the key: you cannot just visualize passively. You must add feeling. Feel what it's like to live that future. Feel the joy of signing that deal, the freedom of paying off that debt, the peace of taking care of your family. When your visualization is charged with emotion, your brain locks onto it like a GPS destination, and it starts searching for ways to get you there. Discipline in your thoughts creates discipline in your results. You cannot attract wealth with a scattered, undisciplined mind. You must be intentional about what you feed your mind every single day. Just like your body needs the right nutrition to stay healthy, your mind needs the right information to stay wealthy. Every book you read, every conversation you have, every thought you entertain, it's either feeding abundance or feeding scarcity. You can't binge on negativity and expect to produce prosperity. You can't spend hours comparing yourself to others and then wonder why you feel inadequate. You can't keep saying, "I'm broke," and expect to create wealth. Discipline begins with guarding your inner dialogue. The wealthiest people are disciplined thinkers. They don't waste time on gossip. They think ideas. They don't dwell on problems. They search for solutions. They don't focus on limitations. They focus on possibilities. And this kind of disciplined thinking leads to disciplined actions. If your mind is all over the place, your results will be all over the place. But if your mind is focused, your results will follow. Discipline also means training yourself to persist. When you get knocked down, you don't say, "I guess wealth isn't for me." You get back up and say, "This is part of the process." Discipline is the ability to stay focused on the vision, even when the circumstances don't look good. It's the ability to keep investing when everyone else is afraid, to keep creating when others are doubting, to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. And when your thoughts are disciplined, you train yourself not to be controlled by fear, but to be guided by vision. Remember, wealth doesn't just come to the dreamer, it comes to the disciplined dreamer, the one who trains their thoughts daily, who cultivates gratitude, who visualizes consistently, and who directs their mental energy toward abundance instead of scarcity. Because when your inner world is disciplined, your outer world begins to reflect it. Thoughts become actions, actions become habits, habits become results. And if you discipline your thoughts long enough, your results will have no choice but to align with abundance. Your environment shapes your thinking more than you realize. You can have the best intentions, the strongest affirmations, and the clearest vision, but if you are surrounded by people who constantly speak doubt, fear, and limitation, eventually their words will seep into your spirit. You cannot think abundance while you're drowning in scarcity conversations. You cannot soar like an eagle if every day you're scratching around with chickens. Surround yourself with wealth-minded people because the company you keep determines the mindset you cultivate. Look closely at your circle. Who do you talk to the most? What are the dominant conversations in your environment? If all you ever hear is, "We can't afford this," or "That will never work," or "Money is too hard to make," don't be surprised when those thoughts begin to feel like your own. Your mind is like a sponge. It absorbs the atmosphere it's placed in. If the atmosphere is filled with limitation, you will inhale limitation. But if you place yourself in environments where people are speaking vision, building businesses, investing, creating opportunities, and solving problems, then you will absorb that too. You will begin to think differently, talk differently, and eventually act differently. This is why mentorship matters. This is why proximity matters. Being around wealth-minded people exposes you to new levels of thinking. They will challenge your excuses. They will not allow you to settle for average. They will remind you of possibilities when you're tempted to dwell on problems. And when you see what is possible through the lives of others, it breaks the limits you've set for yourself. Sometimes all you need to believe bigger is to see someone else doing it. That proof of possibility becomes fuel for your own journey. Surrounding yourself with wealth-minded people also builds accountability. You cannot keep complaining about your situation when you're sitting in a room with people who are building theirs. You cannot keep saying, "It's too hard," when you're surrounded by people who are proving every day that it can be done. Their mindset raises the bar for your own. Their success stretches your belief in what you can do. And the more you place yourself in those rooms, the more natural abundance begins to feel. But here's the truth. It's not just about finding wealth-minded people. It's about removing yourself from environments that drain you. Some of you are holding on to relationships that are keeping you broke, not just financially, but mentally. Every time you talk to them, they pour negativity into you. Every time you share a dream, they shut it down. And then you wonder why it feels so hard to grow. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to let go of the people who refuse to grow with you. You don't hate them. You just refuse to let their mindset be your ceiling. Now understand this: thinking abundance, visualizing success, and surrounding yourself with the right people mean nothing if you don't back it all up with action. Consistent action aligned with abundant thinking is what leads to unlimited wealth. It's not about one big step. It's about the small steps you take every day. Abundant thinking is like the fuel, but action is the engine. You can fill your mind with all the right thoughts, but if you never put them into motion, you'll stay in the same place. Consistency is the secret that most people ignore. They try something for a week, maybe a month, and when the results don't show up instantly, they quit. But wealth does not respond to wishful thinking or occasional effort. Wealth responds to consistency. It's the daily discipline of reading, learning, investing, saving, creating, and stretching yourself. It's the decision to get up and keep moving even when you don't feel like it. It's the refusal to let setbacks turn into excuses. Consistent action is how you build momentum, and momentum is how you build wealth. When you consistently show up for your vision, opportunities begin to notice you. People begin to recognize you. Doors begin to open, not because you waited for them, but because your actions knocked until they couldn't stay closed anymore. Every small step compounds. Every investment, every lesson, every connection, every moment of persistence adds up over time until suddenly you look up and realize you're living in the reality you once only imagined. And here's the thing: consistent action aligned with abundant thinking doesn't just attract money, it attracts freedom. It attracts options. It attracts peace. Unlimited wealth is not just about stacking cash. It's about building a life where you have the power to choose, to give, to create, and to live on your own terms. And you get there by marrying your thoughts with your actions. So align yourself with people who lift your vision higher, cut ties with environments that hold you down, and then commit to consistent, focused action every single day. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it will never come. Don't wait until you feel ready, because readiness comes from movement. Start where you are with what you have and build from there. Abundance is attracted to motion. Unlimited wealth comes to those who don't just think it, but live it. Wealth is not just money in the bank. It's a mindset, a way of seeing, a way of living. It begins with training your thoughts to expect abundance, believing that you are worthy of more, practicing gratitude, and visualizing the life you desire with clarity and passion. It grows when you discipline your mind, control your inner dialogue, and align yourself with people who lift you higher instead of pulling you down. And it becomes unlimited when you combine all of this with consistent, purposeful action. The truth is, life will always give you exactly what you demand from it. If you think small, you'll live small. If you think scarcity, you'll stay stuck in scarcity. But if you dare to think abundance, to see possibility, to act on your vision with boldness and persistence, then you open the door to opportunities beyond your imagination. Your future is not waiting on luck, it's waiting your mind. Believe in your worth. Surround yourself with greatness. And above all, move with relentless consistency. Do these things, and you won't just attract wealth, you will build a life of freedom, impact, and abundance that no one can take away from you.